All right, guys, welcome to the 12th episode of your fourth Fake Guru podcast. Today, we actually have a super dope guest. I know we say it all the time. It's just that every guest is super dope with us. He had over 6 businesses, lifetime. He had over 1,200 lifetime members in his current mastermind, and the community is actually amazing. We're going to dive deeper into building communities and everything that his specific community is offering. And without further ado, let's jump into it. Welcome, Mike.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live, man.
Oh, man,
How
this is
you
my
feeling?
favorite part. I like it when we go live.
How you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here. I was pretty wrapped up in my day.
You're always wrapped up, man.
And I said, I don't know. Maybe I'm not going to go. My wife goes, "You're going. I'll move the other meeting."
Respect.
Yeah. No, she likes you guys a lot. I said, "Well, just let me think about it. Let me figure." I looked. As soon as I turned over, meeting's moved. I'm there. She sends me the address. So good to be here.
Man, you're involved in so many different things, and I know we're part of your mastermind. And the way you sell your mastermind, you're gonna meet all these amazing people. But honestly, one of the most amazing people that I usually speak to at the mastermind is you. Mm-hmm. A lot of people talk about how they're good at maybe credit or finance or growing business and this and that. I'm like, nah, listen to Mike, because he actually knows what he's talking about. A lot of people have theories, but they don't understand that a lot of the value that you share, that's usually the life-changing stuff that we personally take to our business. Mm-hmm. So I just want to share that from the beginning, because you are an amazing business owner. You understand a lot of different things that most people don't understand. You understand many different methods and verticals, and you can really connect with almost anyone. I want to go down the route of where all this kind of started, because obviously it's not like a book you read. It's not a YouTube video you watched. It's life lessons that you accumulated, right? So let's start with where you're from. What path did you choose in life? What kind of job did you do? And what made you decide to go down the business route?
So I'm from Atlanta, hot Atlanta. That's where all the cool people hang out. I'm from Atlanta. What was the second question?
I mean, primarily, what path did you take before you decided to be a businessman? What were you going to do when you were a kid or?
Yeah. So, okay. Great place to start. Growing up was a little bit of a cartoon, really. I went to 13 different schools. I was the new kid every single year. My parents kind of, my dad wanted to be cool. He wanted to make money, but he didn't have the discipline. So it was always something worked, poor discipline, lost it, start over. It's just a really bad cycle. I swore I was never going to do that. I'm like, I am not. Not that I didn't like my dad, because he was cool, but he just wasn't disciplined. I wanted, you know what I actually wanted? I just wanted a house that was ours, that wasn't always going. You would never settle. You wouldn't let your mind settle. Sometimes you wouldn't even make friends because you knew, well, they're not even going to be here next year. So it was like your life was always on pause because you knew it wasn't going to get rooted, and you were almost keep saving yourself from the emotional side of it, right? So growing up, it was just not fun. In 10th grade, I moved out. No, 11th grade, I moved out. It was at the end of 11th grade, moved in with a guy, his parents died. So both, one from different things, but it was almost at the same time.
Wow.
Bought a car from a dude that he was in school, got caught selling weed, and his car, he had it for sale for a G, and it was sitting in some field. It was a Hyundai. It was the first version of a Hyundai. There was only a couple options. They were all the same. And $350. I have a car. I got a new roommate. We're in our own house. It's 11th grade.
Were you working at that time? How'd you have money?
I always worked.
Yeah.
Always. My first business was selling gum.
In school?
The best business I ever had, even to this day.
How old were you at that time?
I was in 6th grade.
Respect.
Yeah, dude. I was, and we'll get back to the other one, but lived on Madeira Beach, right? Candy Kitchen. I'm sure you guys know where Candy Kitchen is on Madeira Beach. It's, I mean, landmark. Everybody, from a vacationer standpoint, like that was where the fudge was made, right? And then they had all these kind of custom candies. One of them was a gum with a candy shell, right? So I always rode my bike to school, skateboarded to school, whatever. You know, I was kind of like on my own in a sense, independent. And I'd stop by, and the owner was this old dude, but like he loved me. I thought he was cool. You know, it was like a little mentorship, right? He's always checking on me, making sure I was good. But I would buy this gum for a nickel, and I would sell it at school for a quarter a piece. Bro, I had so much money in my backpack. I had no.
Were it all quarters though, or what?
I would actually figure out where I needed to stop to change all the change into dollars so that it wasn't heavy heavy, right?
Imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
So ended up getting in a little scuffle, and they took my bag, and then they found and they thought I was selling drugs at school. I'm like, no, dude, I'm selling gum, right? It was wild. That was my first business.
Is that one of the 6?
No. But still probably one of the best till this day. It was a quick exchange, no employees. I wasn't paying taxes. I mean, it was good.
True.
It was all cash.
It was all coin.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But the kind of going into business, the reason I did, which I didn't actually make that decision until I tried to be like what people want you to be. So I always knew I'm gonna fucking be rich because I don't like being poor. And I don't want, like money isn't gonna make me happy, and it's not gonna make me sad. It's not gonna ruin my day. Like just because I have it doesn't make me happy. And if I lose it, I actually don't care, right? I wanna know that I know how to get it because then I always feel capable, right? So I had no idea how I was gonna do it. I mean, I literally had no clue because I really had my family wasn't guiding me. So I was always looking at the older guy and asking questions. Yeah. And if this guy's doing something cool, how do I hang out with him? And just whether he's laying tile, he owns a gym. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. I was just always trying to get the experience from somebody who's already done something, right? And ended up I went weirdest thing. You graduate high school, boom, everybody's gone.
All your friends,
dude,
right?
your world is gone in a day. So I was like, maybe I should go to school, whatever. I went and got a job at Home Depot, which was interesting because Bernie and Arthur at the time, this was in the 90s, were still walking around, checking on you, walking you through your aisles. I mean, they're the founders, right?
Wow.
Of Home Depot?
Of Home Depot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was in store 111, which I think was like the 11th store or something. But it was a good job, and it taught me a lot about merchandising because they were grassroots style, just grunt work, get it done, but listen to the customer, take care of them. Doesn't matter if they literally, if somebody had bought a 5-gallon of paint and painted their whole house and brought it back and had that much, don't ask any questions. Make them happy. Give them their money back because they're going to spend it here anyway.
Yeah.
So they were over the top on anything goes on a return. And I ended up kind of really understanding what customer service and customer experience meant, right? But I always knew in the back of my head, I didn't want to be retail. I didn't really know what I was going to do, but I felt like I needed to get an education. Got a girl pregnant at 19, ended up getting real responsible real quick. I mean, like my daughter's 25 or 6 now? So my girlfriend, which wasn't even my girlfriend, she was dating some other dude. I just happened to be better at it, I guess. I'm like, why couldn't he have done it? Right? Anyway, so got she wanted me to go to school and wanted me to get a real job.
The girlfriend?
The girlfriend,
Okay.
which ended up, we had the kid. I married her. I tried to do the right thing. We knew it was both going to, it was going to fail. But I felt like if you didn't do it, you didn't give it the chance. So then you're always going to feel like a quitter. So I'm like, worst mistake. I know it, but I'm going to do it anyway because I don't want to be a quitter. So married her. 10 months later, it's over. I mean, like it was over at the honeymoon. Yeah. 10 months over, it's over. And I was also just finishing school. So I went through a 3-year accelerated program for technology. And I'd never typed on a keyboard ever. I never used a computer ever. Like I didn't even learn typing. I still can't like really actually type to this day. So signed up to become MCSE certified, CCNP certified. I got like 14 certifications. And at the time, Y2K, remember Y2K? Dude, the world was done. The world was going away. Everything was going
Bro, don't
dark.
ask me about that. I'm your daughter's age.
So she's born in 98.
99.
Okay. Y2K, the world was over. Like the computers were going to shut down, and it was how do you get to the other side? So I was just getting my certifications right before that. And it was like the latest and greatest stuff. Nobody had, like I took my tests with Microsoft and Cisco before the teacher took their tests. I was certified before them. They're asking me what's on the test. I'm like, do I get a rebate back?
Yeah, right.
You know? So it was cool, but I didn't have any experience, which was weird. So you're literally, like people wouldn't even believe that I had those certs. They're like, you're working to get those certs. I'm like, no, I haven't. I would have to carry my certifications with me to show them. So believe it or not, I moved from Connecticut to Tampa because that's where she lived or whatever. And Tech Skills right across, I don't know if they're still there or not, but right across from your office is where I got a job.
Wow.
Being an instructor.
And what year is this?
This was 01, 02.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I've never done any of it. I've never really presented. I mean, like I was working at Home Depot. I was laying tile. I was doing anything. Like if it made a buck, I'd go do it 10 times better than the next guy. But it was very physical labor-ish. So now I'm a professional, and that's what I actually wanted to be. I wanted to feel not like I was uneducated. I wanted to feel like I'd accomplished getting to the other side of like the class, you know?
Yeah.
Not being blue collar, but kind of, being white collar educated and being a professional and wearing a suit. And you know what? I actually bought a watch. So
Was that?
my girl, the one that basically the ex-wife, it's over. She's acting like she's going to take my money. I'm like, I don't even have any money. I got a little 401k. It was like 5 G's. I'm like, what? So, but at the time, I'm like, fuck that. I cashed it out and I went and bought a watch.
Is that it?
With all the money. No.
Oh, I was about to say.
No. It was a Tag Heuer Link limited edition professional.
Oh, I remember the story. You told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I put that thing on like the man. And at the time, dude, that was like, most people weren't wearing a $5,000 or $6,000 watch. I go to my interview and I remember the interview at Tech Skills. The guy's like, you don't have any experience. I'm like, I know. He's like, and dude, I was jacked. I mean, like dress sharp. I didn't do nothing but work out, go back to work, and maybe go on a date, right? Like that's all I did.
Why'd you wink at me, bro?
Like, just so you know what that means.
I know what's up.
It's called translation. He goes, but I like you. He's like, he goes, let's go to lunch, right? So I felt like he didn't want to let me go, but he couldn't hire me. So he goes, let's go to lunch. So we're sitting there. He goes, that's a pretty nice watch for a guy, of your age. I said, I just like I did with you. I took it right off. I gave it to him. I said, put it on. I want to see how it looks, right? He's like, dude. He goes, all right, I'll give you a shot.
There.
He goes, you got 30 days. So I got the job, ended up, I would have to bring extra clothes to change because I would sweat because I was so nervous because I'm training these guys that had been in their field for 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm the guy telling them, here's all the new stuff. Let me tell you what's up. And dude, I would go to the restroom and I was so nervous for the next class because I had to know my shit.
Yeah.
And I would read, it didn't matter how much I would prepare.
It's more like an acting job at this
Dude,
point.
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And then I would walk in that room and I'd be like, all right, I'd use my voice.
Yeah, at least you got the voice.
You had the voice
Dude.
back then too?
Shift.
Actually, that was about to ask that question. Is your
Yeah.
voice like that, or do you actually train for it like that, like to be like that?
Bro.
No, I'm serious because some people do.
No.
Bro.
And some people do.
14, I had a job. I've done everything. I had a job at McDonald's. Okay. Well, I had a yard business. I kept bouncing from like some cool side thing that made real money to well, let me try to
Do a
be a
real job.
normal person.
Yeah.
The normal person stuff doesn't work. So I get a job at McDonald's and they put me on
The intercom thing?
yeah, the drive-through.
Yeah.
Bro, this was like this was for me.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can imagine.
So they come up. I'm like, yeah, welcome to McDonald's. Can I take your order? The whole car, girls, what? Dude, giggling, laughing. They couldn't even figure out what was on the menu, right? Little did they know, I was like 14 years old.
That's
I was
crazy.
like, 100 pounds. They drive around. They're like, where's the guy?
You're like right here.
I'm like, me. It was like, whoa, like you pulled a fast one on them. But that was, it's been like that ever since 14. And it was the wildest, cracky, poppily, like the transition as
Yeah.
going into man mode.
So when you
So
walked
what,
in
you
and you
get the
said, "All
job?
right," yeah. You said you walk back into the room to teach the people, and then you say, "All right, that's where we
Oh,
stop."
yeah, just state change. And I would use my voice to like just, level the playing field. Like somebody's in charge here, motherfucker, and that's me, right? It didn't work every time because there was always that asshole that wanted to let everybody know that he knew more than the teacher. So then I would just acknowledge him. I'd just be like, okay, we get it. You're the guy, right? You win, but we got to keep moving here.
You would say that in front of everybody?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Bro,
like,
that's so funny because
Yeah.
I don't think that person would even open their mouth after
After that, there's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
you can say.
no, dude, you got to understand. These are like old school. They know their shit.
Yeah.
They're old school. They're stubborn. Nobody's going to tell them a damn thing. And it was the programmers. The programmers are the ones that always, like if you had an ornery programmer, he was just like a smart ass. It was never really the designers or the networker guys. It was the guy that was writing code because he's like, dude, I will write some shit that will fuck you up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what he's thinking in the back of his head. But it was a great experience because, it put me under compression and I had to perform whether I liked it or not, whether I went out the night before, like no matter what, I had to perform and I had to know my stuff. And I was responsible if they passed their exam or not. So if they didn't pass their
Gotcha.
exam. Sometimes it was like $1,200 just to take an exam. Then they'd have to take it again and pay again. So it was like, if they didn't pass, I'm not doing my job, right? But I ended up buying a house. So this real estate investor guy comes along and he says, look, you have good credit, right? It was a friend of my brother's friend's mom was dating this guy, and he seemed to have it is dining BMW, and it looked like he had something going on, right? So one day he's asking me some questions. We're sitting there shooting the shit, having a beer, and he's like sizing me up, and I was telling him about my job. Little did I know, he's like, okay, guy's been there a few years. He's making decent money. He's got good credit. I'm going to sell him a house. Dude, it was, but what he didn't know is I was the best form of child labor a dad could ever have. Like I did everything. I had done everything in a house you could possibly need. And then when I worked at Home Depot, as an insurance policy, I bought every tool, the best that they had out of the tool corral. Because what they would do, somebody would buy it and they would return it, but then it would be like open box. And they would cut it down like 10 or 20%. And then I would go ahead and get another little override on that. So all I was stacking, I had a straight tool corral myself, right? And I ended up looking at 3 houses and bought one. Dude, we just drove around on a Saturday. He goes, what do you think about that one? No, because it was like Frankenstein. The third one we looked at, wraparound porch, like it had that
Nice.
curb appeal.
Yeah.
It was a shithole, but it had the bright bones. And so I'm like, I'll take that one, right? $62,000, bro.
Wow.
And it was like 7 or 8 months. Ended up selling it for $154.
Damn.
Yeah. And I only worked weekends fixing it up because I had a full-time job. So
Did you live there?
no, never moved in.
Just
Nothing.
fixing it.
Just. Well, I actually got a really interesting new relationship on the other side of town. So I'm like, I don't even want to be over here. So I ended up selling
Interesting
it.
relationship.
Yeah. And I sold it. I made a ton of money, and I'm like, why am I working? Why don't I just do that? So ended up going back to the same guy. I'm like, well, how did we do that again? Because it just worked. He goes, well, that's the other part, right? Like if you want to do more of that, you're gonna gotta stick next to me, and we can do some of these together. But like, I'm not just gonna hand you my whole system. And the dude had a system on acquisition of the property, the paperwork, the strategy, how to build the buyer's list, how to really turn something, how to not hold it very long. His holding costs will kill a deal.
Yeah.
Like he taught you the numbers, but he didn't teach me. We just did it. So it was like learning through doing. He wasn't going to sit down and show you everything. He's going to be like, do this. We get the foreclosure information from here. You're going to go, ride around and check them out and meet all the owners. But what he didn't know is he didn't know who he was dealing with. Dude, I went and bought a van out of Missouri, turned it into a straight rolling mobile command unit. Like I'm
You
riding
had
around.
all your tools in there?
I'm riding around.
Yes, Home
Yeah,
Depot.
Home
in there.
Depot,
Yeah,
yeah.
literally.
He's had home
Back
Depot.
The
then-
first move
Yeah.
at Home Depot. Yeah.
It's silver, all blacked out, and it looks like it was a state trooper van, E350 diesel. It was beast. And no windows down the side, windows in the back. It looked like the paddy wagon, like they're coming to get you, right? So he, I set it up. I had broadband internet to the thing at the time. It was expensive. I had my laptop all set up. I had cooler right in the center with, gear. I had printer, fax, scanner, battery backups, black lights, just so like if I'm chilling, doing anything on the computer, I flip the black light on, the paper glows, I'm out. Like, I don't want to be sitting in the van with the lights on like I'm snooping around. So I could be scouting even after it got dark.
What are you scouting though? Properties?
Yeah.
So here's what we would do. We would get the data. They would pump, they would sit right down here at the St. Pete courthouse. She would send a list every single day. So what I would do is, you're right. The back portion of the van, I would have materials, gear, stuff for guys that were working for me, tools, whatever it took. We'd get up, we'd go hit it, like 8 to 3, 8 to 4. I'd get my list, I'd dust off, I'd throw a pair of khakis on and a pullover, and I'd just Superman it, change. I have the data. There's like 13 or 14 houses. I plug them all into my routing system. So it was like GPS, and it would literally give me wherever I was back to my house. It would route the most optimal route so that I would hit as many of those properties on the way home.
Were you still working at this time or no? You quit?
Oh yeah,
Your job?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
done. We're straight doing real estate. So out of those 13 or 14 per day, I would usually hit probably 6 or 7 of the best ones, right? Because I started to know the area. And I'd literally it's the end of the day. I'd stop by, knock on the door, or they'd be in the garage. I'd pull up. They thought I was the cops because it looked like a cop van. I get out, blue pullover, khaki pants, jacked. And they're like, because they're in foreclosure. They know they're not paying their payment. So they're already like, I thought you were coming. You know what I mean? So, but I'm not there. I said, no, I'm not that guy. I'm just, here to let you know, we got a notification that you're obviously officially in foreclosure now, and you're going to start getting some scary stuff in the mail. Don't worry about it. Yes, it's a situation, but we know how to handle it. And then I'd open up the van and I'd show them this is what we do, right? I said, you're going to get a ton of other people coming at you that has no idea what they're doing. I said, I'm your guy. That's why I'm here first. I said, get the letter, talk to the dummies, but when you're ready, you call me. I mean, a week, 2 weeks later, he's like, dude, everything you said, I got served. Everybody started showing up at my doorstep, and they were all goofballs, right? Because they were the bird dog dudes. Like the real guy sends the bird dog dude out to knock on doors. So then we would go back and we'd put a deal together to acquire property in foreclosure. They were already upside down, so we'd get them money, get them moved, take care of them. And then it was more about, it was easy to take care of them. It was the negotiation with the bank to get the numbers right? And there was a whole strategy on how to do that. But we would run that process and just go out, and we were basically buying houses, taking control of them, fixing them up, negotiating with the bank, and then, selling them.
Who's bringing up with the cash? Like, who had the cash?
Well, look at it. Like, let's say, what's this house worth here? A couple mil?
I like 4 or 5.
Four or 5 mil. Let's say 5 mil. So if this house is 5 mil, but say the market corrects and now it's worth 3.5, and you got a 5 mil, maybe it's leveraged, maxed out. We've got to run a negotiation against the bank, but the person that's in it has no equity.
Yep.
So you're not buying it from that person.
In from the bank.
They're signing it over to you in a land trust. You're just helping them get a new roof over their head, usually an apartment, whatever, because they can't, their credit's ruined. So now what you have is you have a window of time, because you control the asset, to do the negotiations, the renovations, negotiations. And then you have to understand, do you really actually have a deal? You may not even have a deal. So the first thing you do is you go to the bank and you say, look, you're upside down. You leveraged it at 5, but now you got something that's worth 3.5. But you don't really have something worth 3.5 because this thing is absolutely a shit show, right? It's worth 2.8, maybe 2.8 on a good day, but I wouldn't give you more than 2.5. So now we've cut the thing in half.
Yep.
And when you're in a market like that and they're dealing with, every time they turn around, there's another one and another one and another one. It's like, I can get you the money, but I need the commitment. So you make an offer. You actually, just like you were buying it, but you're doing it to the bank. And then they give you an acceptance and a commitment, but you got to get it done in like 30 days. But there's no way you're going to get it done in 30 days. But everybody gets scared because they're like, oh, I can't do it in 30 days because they have no balls.
Yeah.
You just let it expire. You go get as much done as you can. You get it to a point where you can actually get a real contract on it. And even if it's 60 or 70 or 80, 90 days later, you go back to them to the same commitment and you say, look, I figured it out. I got the money. Because now you have a buyer, right?
Gotcha.
So you were able to take control of it. You were able to get a commitment at a number so you knew where they would actually settle or strike. And then you went out and put the deal together, fixed the property up a little bit, and put somebody in there with a real contract, with real financing that took the deal down. So you really didn't buy the property. You controlled it, and you could leverage almost infinitely because you weren't outlaying tons of cash.
So this was kind of your first business, right?
This was my first understanding of this taught me more about money because you're beginning to understand credit. Why do I actually want to take money out of my bank account when I could just go put it on a Home Depot card because it's only going to be there for a couple months anyway. And then at the closing, everything just goes away, right? So it taught me about money. It taught me about financing. It taught me about paperwork. It taught me about, everybody thinks because it's a bank that it has to be a way, but no, they're looking to solve their problems too. And many times they have more problems than we have. So that was probably one of the best educations for me because also you're learning a skill around the thing that everybody wants most, which is a house, right? And houses and real estate is something that the tax benefits, it's one of the best places I think I could have started. And it also taught me that not everything doesn't have to be exactly the same. So deals and negotiations, because in real estate, it's all about what works for both parties.
Yep. That is amazing, place to start because I feel like that impacts everything in your life, like partnership deals, getting equity money to like invest into your business, selling your business, investing into like other people's business. I think that's amazing, like vertical to like tap into. I kind of want to like find out how much money you made the first year doing that,
Oh my God, dude.
because I feel like that probably changed your life.
Well, here's the the weird, deceptive thing about real estate is I mean, you make more money, but you're always broke. You're always broke because you're always moving it in the
To
the
the next
next
one.
thing, right? And you're doing bigger and bigger properties, so you have more and more outlay, or you're doing better properties and more of them, so you're continually outlaying. So you're never really, or you many times you'll add them to your portfolio, where then you may have outlay there. So you never really know kind of how much you're dealing with because it's in all these different formats, right? You have some portfolio assets over here, you have some outlaid over there, you have this in the bank. It's just a very deceiving until you kind of clean it all up, right? And dispose, which means sell it. But what it does is it gives you the ability to also leverage. So you can go out and throw a mortgage on something, or even maybe a second mortgage on something. So like I say, you almost expand in multiple ways instead of just like, how much can I pile up in my account? It's almost a multiplier, giving you more ways to reach for wealth, right? I'll tell you this, in 1 month, after, I think it was like the second year of doing it, 1 month, I cracked off like 13 houses.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, not like as a realtor, but like they were houses that we were doing, and they all kind of came together in 1 month.
Wow.
And it was a pretty interesting day, right? But I was beat. I was done.
Yeah.
And so we went on eBay. My buddy's like into bikes. I mean, I'd ridden dirt bikes, but he's into bikes. We go on eBay. He picked out some stuff, and he's like, I think I might buy one. I'm like, if you're going to buy one, I'm going to buy one. So we bought these red, white, and blue, like Freddie Spencer replica bikes on eBay out of London. We're thinking we're just going to ship them. Oh my God, no. It's the biggest pain in the ass. And back then, it was even worse. So we're like, well, let's just fly over there and ride them. So we bought some tickets one way. So we have
What is going on?
motorcycle bikes or bags that go on the back, like racing. We got some, riding jackets. We got some cool gear. We just went to the store and went freaking shopping, and had no hotels, no plans. I mean, none. Like we didn't even know where we were staying the first night. We weren't even sure where the bikes were, bro. Right? Like one ended up being in Newcastle. One was in London. One was in Newcastle. We learned that once we got there. And then it was just like Under Armour gear under your bike stuff. I mean, we would go to fancy restaurants like in our bike jacket, boots, jeans, and just because we didn't have a room to carry much. And then we'd go to like a place to stay, and we would basically just dunk everything down in the pool, let it sit, chlorine, throw it over the balcony. I mean, we were straight just getting it. And
Backpacking, huh?
we were backpacking in luxury
Back in the
hotels.
day,
That's crazy.
And hostels. And I mean, all we really did is when we landed, like the guys that we bought the bikes from, the second one, because there were two different ones, the second one in Newcastle, he ends up owning, we met the guy that like owns the best bike shop on the most, like the sexiest drag where they all meet up. I mean, this thing is like Bike Row. And over there, they're big bike enthusiasts. But he's like, come to the house, stay at our house. We're like, all right, whatever. So we go, we stay, and then we get to know the guy. He tells us where we should be going, da-da-da. So we just literally started the pattern based on their recommendation. And what we figured out is meet somebody cool, go to the right places, meet somebody cool. They all kind of take care of you because it's a cool relationship. We're doing something they find adventurous. They're like, no way. So they're kind of living vicariously through you. We're just bouncing from one thing to the next. And they would always set us up, no matter who it was, with that next destination. And many times they're like, I got a guy that I know here. If you go there, they're going to take care of you.
But why do people take care of you? Because like my thing is, are you trying to position yourself, and that's not just with the bikes, that's like with business and everything else. Are you trying to position yourself into these circles where you feel like you can, make a difference and meet the right people, or do the right people just end up finding you somehow?
Well, it's both. I mean, it's absolutely both. It's not
Because
one or
it
the
can
other.
be strategic, or it can be just kind of like
Yeah,
luck.
but I started asking those questions to the you think about this. If you're sitting at a dinner table and there's a few different parties there, you're going to know who's the one that's going to potentially be most worthy of your time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just know. So that's the guy or girl you ask questions. That's it. And it's not that you're doing it because you want something. Like that's going to be the most interesting conversation. That's going to be probably the most educational for you. Their answers are probably going to be the things that is interesting. You're going to leave with something. I mean, why sit there and waste your time asking somebody that has nothing to offer questions when realistically there's somebody better sitting right next to them? Or hey, play the game and ask both of them questions.
But why would they be open to talking to you? Because
People love to be asked questions. You're asking me one right now.
Yeah, 100%. Because I forced you to be on our podcast. Actually, your wife did. But sometimes you'll go like into a room and like you'll see like 50, 30 people, maybe like 3,000 people, and most of them are kind of just like sheeps, right? They just kind of move along. They're like, oh, there was no value. But then there's like the people that are like have a target. They're like, I want to talk to that guy. Like, I want to get something out of them. But how do you get that guy to give you like their 2 seconds of their time? Think about like these like big leaders, right? If Elon Musk is talking at a convention, you have the opportunity to approach him. How do you approach these people?
So again, and it all depends. It's called reading the room, right? Which my wife tends to tell me I don't do well, but I think I've done an okay job. She is my best critic, by the way. Like, if I'm not doing something well or right or can do better, she's going to let me know. And I think that's really good for a man because a lot of people just tell you what you want to hear. And I think when you have a wife like that, that points, because they're the one closest to you.
Yeah.
And for the most part, they're almost always right or right all the time. But think about this. If you read the room right, everyone wants to be acknowledged for something, but they also want to be asked in a way where they're able to contribute, because nothing really makes anyone feel better than contribution. So think about it. Like, I like telling you the story about the bikes because realistically, I did something cool, but I'm not doing that again, but I get to do it again when I tell you about it, right? So for me, that's exciting, right? Everyone has something. So like when you said, hey, you pointed out the watch. Well, I could have bought this watch 10, 12 different times in life, but I didn't because it wasn't the right time, right? I could have, yes, but it was about waiting until it was the right time for me to do it. Getting the right price, doing it when it was responsible, and there was I pushed off gratification so that I could do it the right way, so that it truly was a reward for me, not something that I did irresponsibly and then made up for it and got lucky. So I got it off my conscience, right? So when somebody points that out, it's like, you know what? That was a reward for me that he doesn't even actually know. But you gotta, if you can identify, maybe there's something on them, around them, that like gives them a little acknowledgement for sacrifice or diligence or experience. That's the stuff people want to share, right? So what did you say? Being in a room with Elon?
Yeah.
There's got to be a question. There's got to be something that the guy does everything well. There's going to be something he wants to talk about or that he finds interesting. And if you can't figure it out, maybe it is better sometimes to not say anything. But how often do you end up in a room with somebody like that? Who gives a shit? Ask the guy a great question. Take a shot, right?
Let me ask you this though, because like sometimes you get this one opportunity with these big people. You ask him a question, cool, he leaves, he never remembers you ever again. How do you get them to re-engage with you?
Well, don't worry about it, because it's the art of doing it over every time you get an opportunity. Do it.
But
So
what if you
get-
only see him once though?
Well, there's more people. There's a lot more
So
people
move
out
on.
there. Yes, there's no shortage of people, right? And if you're going to miss in life, you're just going to do it. So start missing more, so you get to the point where you actually connect more often, right? So I wouldn't even worry about it. Like that shit used to stress me out. Man, I said something stupid. I shouldn't have done it that way. We're all going to do that. I still say stupid stuff. Like, there's some individuals that I think have given me some really great strategies over time. And I feel like I should be further along with probably getting some of them done. And every time I see them, I'm like, dude, I already know. I don't even need to talk about it, right? So we all have those people that make us better. And realistically, the fact that you're able to identify that you asked a dumb question or you missed an opportunity just makes you want to be better. And it shows you what you did wrong, so you are better.
Yeah, I always, when I was young, I always told my dad whenever he come and advise me something, I actually listened to him and everything, and then I would tell him that I'm still gonna go do it, and he'll be like, but do you believe that I'm right? I was like, I believe you're right, but I want to do those mistakes. Let me do my mistakes. You have done your share of mistakes. Let me do my share of mistakes, even if it's wrong. Like you said, for example, you said something that you said it was wrong. Oh, marrying that girl, the girlfriend.
Yeah.
You said it was gonna be the worst decision of your life. And you still did it, and you was like, I just want to be a quitter. And that's the same thing I used to do with my dad. I always tell him, like, I understand, and you are right. I'm 100% believe of what you're saying, but at the same time, let me do my own mistake. Let me do my share of mistakes. You know what I mean? Let me fuck up. So what? Yeah, this is the best way to learn, always.
The thing is, I get Amel's question as well, because the way he approached us initially, it's like, who is this guy? Like, where
He's
did he
very
come?
strategic.
Yeah, like, because I don't think anybody told you about me and Amel and like what we were doing. And when you walked up to us, you were like, you guys just look like the guys that we need to be talking to. So it's like, I feel like his answer is kind of the mix between both the options you gave him, because you are strategic, bro.
You are very
You are
strategic,
strategic
bro.
about it.
Well, when you walk in a room, you need to know who to talk to. You can't talk to everybody, right? Nor do you want to,
100%.
right?
Absolutely.
And like, I don't even think about it, but I would say that by just doing and doing, you end up building kind of the unconscious competence
Yes.
side through experience, right?
Like a sixth sense, yeah.
Yeah, so which becomes healthier because you're not trying to execute on something. Now it's part of your personality. Like with you guys, I was kind of kidding around, but I wasn't. I'm like, you guys look like the ones I should be talking to, give you a little compliment, but I felt like you guys are the ones I should be talking to. And then you got a camera guy running around with you, so it says, hey, we're doing something that's worthy of going somewhere later. So why not see what's up?
What else? Because I kind of want to dive into the strategies before we jump into like the mastermind, how to build a community. Because this is something that I personally always want to like build on and work on. And from everyone I know, like you're up there when it comes to working in a room, really having a presence, being strategic about it. What other tips would you recommend? And I know a lot of this stuff is kind of like just comes natural to you, so maybe you don't even know what you're doing. But is there anything that you know that you're doing strategically when you walk into a room and you're trying to make an impact?
Yeah, you look everybody in the eyeball. You can control that room by looking everyone in their eyeball. You're not looking at faces. You're looking right in their eyeball, because nobody does that. No speaker, or I don't even like the word speaker because that's garbage. No professional just gazes over the room. No, I'm looking at you, which means you're looking at me, right? Now I've got your attention. I didn't have to ask for it. I got it. You know, when you walk, like you eye lock across the room with somebody, I know you're there, and you know I know you're there, right? And I may call on you. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you feel like you're going to be called on, you're also going to pay attention, right? Or if I'm going to use you as an example, some people want to be used as an example, some people don't, right? So I think even if it's a room you have no idea who's in that room, there are people that you can identify with based on, say you got a guy, he's a gym guy, right? He's working out, he looks great, and looks like he's disciplined and taking care of himself. Use him as an example in the conversation when you're doing whatever it is you're doing in front of the room, if you're educating or whatever. I just think that like you can own the room through your demeanor, and no one wants someone who is cocky, knows it all. It's about them, right? It's like realistically, if you pay attention to them, right? Lock eyeballs. They're paying attention to you. You're investing in them first, right?
I feel like your superpower is like putting someone in the spotlight. Like I feel like your like actual like tangible thing that you do is like, for example, in BA, like sometimes there's people that are busy, maybe answering someone on their phone, maybe it's family, maybe it's work, whatever. And then some people are very like focused and paying attention. And like when you do lock eyes with them, you call upon them, use them as an example, put the spotlight on them, and then kind of make them look good in front of everybody
People
else.
love that.
Which in terms gives you like brownie points in a sense.
Well, again, we're all there for a reason.
Right.
And what I think a lot of people, and we can get into community because I've been actually working with a gentleman. His name's Jay Doran. Do you know Jay?
No.
Yeah, I'll make the intro.
Is he a part of BA?
Yeah, actually, I'll bring you
Okay.
in up to speed on that. But from the acknowledging somebody's competence, many times they haven't really concentrated that very well themselves. Like how many times have I done an interview with somebody in front of, members, and they're talking about whatever it is they're doing, and I'm like, let me help you and them, help them understand what you just said, right? So after, realistically, I've probably been on, after 26 years of just dealing with owners, founders, CEOs, and their businesses, I've been on more calls and listened to more people talk about their business, to where for me, it just becomes like concentrated, just more concentrated down to what it really is. What he's trying to say is he runs the best ads in the game, and not only for, shoes, but for insurance. Everybody goes into the details that no one cares about. Like the guy runs the best ads. Give me the biggest brand, whatever. Make something stick that they can't forget. Don't fill it with a bunch of garbage, because if you just use the heavy parts, then you're good, right? Less is actually more.
Agreed. And that's another thing that you're good at. Like at the end of the day, I think I'm going to use like strategic like 100, 200 times in this like podcast, because like even that's a strategy.
Yeah.
A lot of big CEOs, they don't know how to communicate, and they don't know how to express what they do. And a lot of like people that aren't even CEOs and they're trying to like start their own business, they don't know how to express their service. And being able to tell people what you do directly and to the point is really what you got to do sometimes. Because sometimes I listen to people at BA speaking, I'm like, what is he even talking about?
Yeah.
Does he even know what he's talking about? Is that something that you trained on, or is it something that you picked up people doing correctly?
No,
You're like, I don't want to be
pure
like that person.
frustration.
Of yourself or others?
Both. Both. Again, somebody gets on a phone. I've been on so many calls. Sometimes I don't even know who I'm getting on the phone with. Like, I don't know where they came from. I don't know referral. I don't know anything. I don't even know their name. Sometimes I'm moving so fast, I get a text and it's literally, they shoot me the numbers, boom, and I just dial. And then I'm like looking to, did they send me a little, where's
Bio.
the name, right? It's, yes, and it's comedy. It's getting frustrated with hearing people have a great service or have a great product or platform and really be bad at conveying the message. And it's like, dude, you could be so much better. Like, let's take a look at this. This is really what you do. Just say that, right? So sometimes they just aren't doing it enough that it just needs, again, simplification. And then if I think, oh my gosh, do I sound like that? Then, you definitely don't want to embarrass yourself, right? So Sometimes it's just you gotta get the marbles out of your mouth and do it more often. You know, like the thing that about a podcast is the questions are what make the podcast, right? Not the answers. So that's why I say everything is great. Matter of fact, if you look at, we took the BA podcast and it says, ask better questions or better questions and the best experiences or something. We just changed but asking the better questions to the right people to harvest the best experiences is what is going to give you a great show, right? Because the questions are what drive the show.
Agreed. What tip would you give people to narrow down their messaging and what they do?
Ask me what I do.
What do you do?
Do you know what a board of advisors is?
No.
Okay. So you've never heard the term.
I'll play like I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So most companies have a board of advisors, a group of people that they elect in their best interest to help them grow their company, right? If you go to Forbes, Entrepreneur Mag, I mean, just Google it. It's going to bring up articles all about how to build a board of advisors. Well, I own boardofadvisors.com, and we do that for businesses all across America, right? Sometimes even outside of America. Most people, though, respond, "Oh yeah, I know what a board." I mean, they usually do.
Yeah.
So I don't even say anything other than, "Oh, okay, cool. Well, I own boardofadvisors.com," and they're like, "Oh shit!" Like, tell me about that, right? So I found that my angle is best because they will know what it is 90% of the time to take the risk of them saying potentially no. Because if they haven't, they're not for me, right? So if they say yes, though, they are for me, and then we just jump into that. But I get credibility because I own something that realistically they've already heard of. See that?
Yeah.
Like you've heard. I haven't even told you what I do, but you just told me you've heard of me, and now I just confirmed owning it, and that's a good little, cementing of we're not so far apart here, are we?
You took a general term and made it like a company, so that they kind of sound dumb if they don't know what it is, in a sense.
Right, and it gets affinity quickly.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that, especially like narrowing down your messaging, I think, yes, it's a smart business play, but I think it's an expert entrepreneur's method of basically being bored of the BS. Like when someone used to ask me and Amel what we do, we used to be like, "Oh, well, we're revenue focused, marketing company. We take your social media, blah, blah, blah." And then this whole sentence. Even if now where we have more companies than we did back then, now when someone asks me, "What do you do?" "Oh, I run sponsored ads."
You could literally just go ads.
Yeah.
I do ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
Like a lot of them.
Usually I say like we make people money utilizing like paid ads.
Well, like think about this. If you just said ads, and you're like, I mean, a lot of ads. Like we do the most ads ever.
That's like a
funny
Trump
answer.
statement, bro.
Yeah. That's
They're
a
like-
funny answer.
Whoa, wait, who are you?
Yeah.
Because like it almost makes them think, should I have already heard, should I know who he is?
True.
Yeah.
True.
Have you heard of Meta? Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, right.
I own that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like ads, like all the ads ever. Like that's us.
So what is the goal with board advisors? Like how did that idea even come about? Like what were you trying to
Community.
do?
Now he's going to answer only in one word.
And this was what, 6 years ago?
Yes.
Okay. I can go with these
I'm messing
questions.
with you.
Because the thing is, like, what I'm trying to see is, like, 2006, right? There were communities that kind of started getting super popular the last 3-4 years. Like, who was even thinking about creating communities back then, right? And then, like, how'd you even manage to get a hold of these, like, contacts and leads and big prospects?
Well, so one thing, this is a notepad moment. Write this down. Every time you're transitioning in business, say one business is going to potentially fade out and you're going into another one, whether it's by choice or not. Try to maintain momentum with team, with asset. Like some of my guys have been with me in maybe 15 years.
Wow.
You know, so momentum is a big deal. So does the team carry over? Does the client base carry over? You know, how much of what I was doing carries over into the next thing? Because realistically, if you change too drastically, it doesn't make sense sometimes for that party and that team to really become leverage, because that's time. There's loyalty. You've got it all worked out. Those customers know you. The team knows you. We're just dancing a different dance over here, maybe a better one, right? So that's a really strategic move in just keeping up momentum, because the waste is getting something started, right? If you can maintain momentum and put a new product or service or label on it, then that's good, which is what we really did. I mean, we went to school for tech, got into real estate, ended up doing real estate tech, got into the tech world really, and we were selling now basically software. It just did something for real estate. Then we got in with Adobe, and we're more of a technology back office supplier for building businesses online. Built thousands across U.S., hundreds across Australia, opened up in Australia as well. But all of those customers, I mean, we were building their brands. I mean, like, look at Ty Crandall. You know Ty? Dude, we named his company for him, right? CreditSuite.com. We built his website. I mean, like, there are so many people that we had that they were just starting out, and we were part of that genesis of creating that idea with them. So, and it wasn't just one. Many times you do it once, they love you. They're like, I got another idea. So you do it again. Those were the individuals that we originally put or invited into the conversation or community of board of advisors. The reason I didn't call it a mastermind is there was two reasons. Merchant accounts don't like the word, by the way, and you're not going to get approved for preferential processing. I like to think of ours as a community or a fraternal organization, like the police, right? Much more official. So we went with board of advisors because it was more mainstream from a brand standpoint, but it was also very descriptive in what we're actually doing. You're coming in to get advisory from people who have already done what you're trying to do, right? So the invites originally were already customers or relationships that we had enough trust. I mean, honestly, the way I sold BA or offered BA in the very beginning was, I remember calling Lawson Owen. I'm like, dude's got like 6,000, 7,000 dealerships on his platform. The guy's a straight monster. Matter of fact, he was one of the first guys that had bought this watch where I was like, I want that thing, but he didn't know what I was talking about. And I was thinking, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm not even going to talk about it. I sold me. And what I was going to do is invite him to something special. So there's going to be a few key people that I'm bringing. We're going to be at this place on these dates. And I'm telling you, these are my best people. I've gone through my database, gone through my phone, and I cherry-picked the best people. And I'm going to put a little 2-day meeting on the map out here on the beach. And I said, you should be there. Okay, Mike. That was it, right?
Did you charge for the first one or no?
Well, funny you asked that. Some I had such a relationship with, I knew if I sold them before they got there, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot. Others, I didn't know them because like they were maybe referred from one of those relationships saying, hey, if this is going down, maybe they should come too. So I got to qualify them. So I put a transaction in front of that. And then I was at an event where I couldn't figure out the logo, right? Is it Board of Advisors, BOA? No, that's a bank. So what is it, right? So ended up nailing the logo through that's another total weird story. But I put it on a banner. And I just popped the banner up I was at an event for something else. Popped the banner up. I felt like it looked cool, like it was a cool looking logo. So I just popped it up, and I was like, if anybody asks, I'll tell them about it. But I didn't really know how to convey it, right? Had a few people ask. I'm like, dude, I'm here for this, but that's where all my best people go. That's all I told them. They're like, well, when is the next one? I just told them it was the dates, and here's where it's going to be. We want to go. Well, it doesn't work like that, right? And then just first off, there's a transaction. There's going to be a requirement. You're going to have to bring something to the table really valuable. Then I started kind of getting the marbles out of my mouth, and it was more around. Matter of fact, I joined a mastermind. I've only joined one ever, right? And it wasn't great. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great. And for $25K at the time, it was like 2008. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if I went to the last meeting, because I was just like, that isn't what he said it was. But what ended up really transpiring is there was about 3 or 4 dudes out of that mastermind we made millions of dollars with. Like Mike Citron. He's the one that connected me with Adobe. I'm like, I partnered with Adobe on a platform because this guy introduced me. It was in reflection, like Dima calls me today. He goes, I got to get back in. Calls me today, pays in full, boom, done. He goes, I didn't realize what it was until I left. And then I went and poked around. He goes, it's you got something. I want back in. I said, can you do 100 push-ups? He goes, no, but I'll work on it. Okay, I said, fine. We can do this, right? So the original customers, I just used momentum, and it just began to work. But I never really called it a mastermind from the name or brand, but I did refer to the format. So we've never had a meeting, but we're the world's greatest mastermind. But we've never had a meeting, right? So, because I programmed me. It wasn't even for them. It was for me, because I had that experience that I ended up not liking or loving, but it worked because of the people. So if you got the right people, then it doesn't really matter. Did you win? Did you buy the right food for lunch? Did you, have the right experience? I mean, you got to do that stuff so people enjoy the process.
Yeah.
But also, it can be the thing that distracts you from the priority, which
I'll
is
tell
the
you,
people.
the Ybor food wasn't good.
No,
So
no, that whole place. I think that whole place was just we were trying to get a different experience and get to Tampa, but Tampa's tough, and when you're doing it a little late in the game, just to create a transition, it was. Some people liked that eclectic cigar, brick factory environment, but just the staff. That's hey, learned a lesson. Never steer away from a chain where there's quality control, compliance. You don't bring a herd of people into an unknown. And that was a boutique hotel where their back office is not a well-oiled machine.
yeah,
Right.
I can see that.
Right.
So how do you keep people on? Because the thing is, okay, you get them in. How do you keep them in? To keep on renewing, and how do you get more people to sign up? Because I feel like a lot of your stuff is word of mouth and like referrals, but I'm sure you do other things too.
Well, and two, for me, just to kind of, and any members listening, this will be informative for everybody. I had another business when I started this, bizblueprint.com. I think I've sent you that to check out. Not really a business, but it was the partnership with Adobe. And when I first started this was like, now I have 2 things that I've got splitting my attention. And this little bicycle just started going pretty quick down the hill, bro. Like I just pulled, somebody said my son is sleeping on the couch and, he's new to town and I want to get him busy. Do you have a thing for him? And I'm like, okay. I just hired him. I like that guy, So I just took some extra bodies in the very, very beginning to help me administratively. And it just started working, right? Because I didn't realize what that prior business and all those conversations with those people, the businesses that we built online had turned me into, because really we were connecting people, right? It wasn't something we were charging for, but like, let's say I'm building your online business, but I got this guy over here you should be talking to. I was always trying to make sure that my customer loved me so they didn't go anywhere else, right?
How do you do that though?
What?
How do you get your customer to be a super fan and just love you?
Well, back to my answer. I don't think anyone ever really knows what they're doing fully until later. Like even for me, I've been doing this now going on 9 years. I watch people come into my organization. Some come in and they take, right? They say the right things on the way in the door, but they come in and they take. And it's not good. It's not healthy. I see some come in and they'll build they'll do my math for me. They'll look around the room. They're like, hey, I'm going to go do what he's doing, and you'll almost have like a competitor come right out of it, right? So you're always going to have challenges with keep letting people stay, and or getting people to stay, because it's for different reasons. Some don't belong there in the first place. Like that's going away from day one. You're just not being real honest with yourself. But you have to be able to have the experience to see that and know how it's going to play out, and then decide, am I going to let it play out, or am I just going to not do it at all? Right? So for me, that's been a little bit of a journey. Also, you have the guy or girl that creates the thing, and then you get people that just want a different type of pizza. I mean, pizza's pizza, bro. Yeah. Right? But somebody may just go to a different place because it's a different environment. So people who are just looking for variety, that's tough. What I have come to the realization is people stay because of culture. So if BA is a community, and this is where I will, if we want to kind of stop talking about the past and kind of anchor to the present and look at the future, where I have seen my opportunity to grow is not to make BA bigger, because that's what everybody asks. Where's the new people? How many people this time? And there is a place for that for sure. But before that happens, it has to get better, because getting bigger on something good will break, but getting bigger on something better is going to be really good for everybody. So what I had to do is I had to take a really strong look at what is good and what isn't, and do a little come to Jesus with myself, right? So what you have to look at is culture governs in the absence of the eyeball. So you don't have to micromanage when culture's in place. So let's say BA is the ultimate entrepreneur founder community. That's a place you want to be, right? Well, that community has to have principles for the citizens that are part of it. So you have a container called BA, boardofadvisors.com, and you have the citizen
Quick plug-in
that goes into it, right? But that citizen has to abide by a culture that is a set of principles that makes everyone get the outcome that they're looking for because of behavior. Not because Mike is going to connect them, but because the behavior, let's just say, remember the advertisement, be like Mike? So what are the principles of what did I do right that I maybe didn't even know that I was doing right, but I was still doing it right? What was I doing that needs to become the principles of that culture that a citizen says yes to, not after they join? You don't train somebody after they join. You lay it on the line before they join. And realistically, it's a much better proposition than even the benefits, because people want to belong to something that is rich and meaningful because they know in their gut they're going to get the benefit, right? So now, instead of looking at how many magic tricks can I do to get somebody, a client or a customer, right? It's how can I create a behavior inside of this community container for those citizens to all generate that same, not just me, but every single one of them, right? So the key is when you create that, now you win. Because that is something that most mastermind or community or group, they don't build that. They're looking for numbers. They're looking to pack the house. How many people can I get in here? If you've got a credit card, you're in, man. Right? Like, that's what it is. So where I've arrived is when somebody says, hey, let's talk about BA, I say, cool, we can do that. But on the way in the door, I got a couple questions for you. Let's figure out where you're at, right? Because if you can't abide by our principles, which it took me a minute, what are they that gets the result?
Yeah.
So we learn there's three phases of the conversation now. Where are they at? What are they doing? What are they trying to achieve? You know, I need a heat map on them, right? Gives us a little read. And this is something too that eliminates me from being the responsible party to have the conversation. Like before, it's like, okay, if I join, what kind of weird voodoo are you going to do for me inside of your community? Because you have these assets, they're valuable relationships, but how do we make it work? Now it's, we take an inventory of you and then we tell you about our culture. And then we ask you, how does that feel? Like, is that a good feeling? Is that somewhere you want to be? Because if I make an intro to you, if I introduce you to him, and you need ads, because he does a lot of them.
A lot.
All of them.
All of them.
He does all the
Every
ads.
single
All the
one.
ads
Every single
go through
one.
these guys right here, right?
I love that so much.
Yeah, bro.
That should be an ad, actually.
Yeah.
Right here.
You're going to commit to spending an hour with him. You're going to pitch him nothing. You're going to do such a good job, he's going to thank me. Because if I make the intro and I don't get a thank you from him for you getting introed, I'm going to wonder, did that go in the right direction, right? So you're going to commit to an hour, give him everything you got. Maybe it doesn't take an hour, but you're ready to give an hour if it's a request and he needs help. And you're going to, your Rolodex, your resource, your time, the hour, connections, experience, strategy, whatever. Give him the best. Make him feel like you're his best buddy, because you don't need to know if you're going to get something back from him or not, because you're going to get it from somebody else, because there's another 150, 200 of us that are waiting to do the same for you. But when you're called on, it's your time. Go, right?
100%.
You're not supposed to pitch him anything. Matter of fact, if he calls me and tells me that you pitched him, you're out, right? Like there is a no pitch policy. Here's why. Because if you do it right and you're that good at communicating, he's going to want to, or she, they're going to want to move forward with you anyway, right? So I'm keeping you from hurting yourself, right? Because when you design the behavior, you take a moment to create something that works, and then nobody has to think, because they just do. Because the thinking is the issue. That's where the fuck up comes in, is when we start thinking. We think really good once, and then we go, hey, that's something that I think that'll work. I believe in that. I agree with that. That feels good to me. And then that's what we do, right? Because then it becomes easy. Now, if we're all acting like that, it's a game, right?
But you always get the few that are pitching, you know. I know that it's been probably like an hour or so. There's like a few final questions I kind of want to ask. The first one, before we jump into, you know, what's the future and what's the goal?
Well, let me ask you a question, though.
What's up?
Before we go further. If BA was 200 and it went down to
200 what? 200K?
just say 200 members,
Okay.
just for easy math, and it went down to a quarter of that, 50 straight ballers that said, I'll sign up for that. Like that I'm down with.
What's your question?
Is it more valuable? Do you want the more members, or do you want the more commitment to what gets the actual end result?
I mean, at the end of the day, there's different types of people in the community, but like I just want quick actions. That's why even when you were like changing things around, I'm like, I wish we just got to the point. Like, what do you need? You need this? Okay, he's the person where I can help you, right? Just get to the point. A lot of times, there's a lot of time wasted where you're just like blabbing, and it's
Totally.
like I'm not getting anything out of this.
Too long.
Let me go eat the plantains that you in
Yeah,
before.
too long to get the marbles out of the mouth. And it's one thing I learned. You can't give anybody too much time because they many times aren't prepared and they don't know how to use it. And even if they are really good, you might be catching them off guard, right? So you're right. The cadence has to stay up because if it's also something that's not applicable to everybody, then you're starting to lose everybody. Even if one dude's getting a lot of value, like you got to get to the next thing, right? Cool, like that linked up. You guys sidebar next. I agree. But in order to really get bigger, you've got to get better because as people start to come in after that concentration, now there's a real commitment to being valuable to each other and an acknowledgement to what you just said. We're not here wasting anybody's time. We're here to be valuable, and we're here to also get away from all the other crap that's out there, right?
The issue is like when there's so many people and someone's blabbing and they don't know exactly what to help with. One person isn't taking action, and no one's taking action.
Yeah.
If there's action, it's a full force action, and things happen a lot quicker. Personally, that's the way I like to operate.
Yeah.
Things are happening, let's go all in, right? Another personal question, which I kind of want to kind of understand, is how do you engage with 150 people and keep them ready for any question that you might have? Because the thing is in a lot of our podcasts, we talk about partnerships and having the right people that you can call at any given time and, get whatever you need out of them. But you got to nurture that relationship because you might need them 2 years later. How do you nurture 150 people? Or do you not care about 150? You find the 10 or 20 that are actually worth it.
Well, think about it. A gym. Do they all go to the gym at the same time? So if you've got a gym and you have, 5,000 members, they don't all show up at the same time.
They don't.
No. I mean, they don't. You're never going to have to deal with everybody at the same time, and you're never going to have to deal with everybody sequentially.
But do you want to so you can have them on the speed dial when you need something?
Well, there's a different approach, okay? There has to be a blanket approach that keeps everybody in tune. Think of it as like radio waves. Like it's a broadcast type of syndication. And then you obviously have your activities where people raise their hand and they need something, which is highly specialized. And then you have the things in the middle that would be like group calls where they're getting some of you, but they're also getting some of somebody else. So that mitigates all the way down to how many of those one-on-ones you really have to perform. And then, again, back to questions. Many times it's a very lazy approach because they just want you to solve their problem, but they don't even know exactly what their problem is.
100%.
Do you know how many times people reach out to me and they're like, I need an hour. Do you really need an hour? Right? Okay. I tell them, I'll invest an hour with you. Send me an email of exactly what we're going to cover. The top 3 things in a bullet. I say, don't even write anything else. Bullets. Because I want to make it easy on them. What do you want to nail down? You know how often they do that? Almost never. Because they just want to get on and kind of, no, I want them to articulate, what are we doing here? Because if I read it, by the time we get on that call, I won't have to work. It'll just happen. Like it'll just, in the back of my mind, it will have soaked in. I will have figured it out. We'll get on the call. But you got to do a little work. Don't just get me on a call and start firing stuff at me. Like I can be a show pony, but it doesn't work best for either one of us. Right?
I'll be honest with you, bro. They probably did type up that email, figured out the bullet point problems.
And solved
it.
it.
Stayed in
Exactly.
draft, and then they figured it out.
Exactly.
Agreed.
100%. Because they start working through it themselves. Oh, don't worry about it. I got it.
Yeah, I figured it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
That's true.
But they also too are like, well, I guess I didn't really need you. No, you did. It was me telling you to go.
go do
You know what
it.
I mean?
I mean, you're a good accountability person. I was gonna say coach, but you're not really a coach. You keep people accountable. You tell them exactly what they need. You're able to steer people when they're off the ship. I think that's your biggest value. The community is good, but like I said at the beginning of the podcast, you are, for me, worth the full community, because most people don't know how to help you when you're asking for help. Whether it's go write it out and tell me what you need and then you figure it out, or it's like, hey, this is what I need, and they don't know how to express it. There's only a select few, and me and Christian talk about it all the time. There's like a handful that we like, and like I said, that's the reason like I like BA, because when we joined, it was like, what, 2 years ago? We're pretty like mid-size. The biggest value that we got out of it was seeing all these people make so much money, but we realized they weren't that much smarter than us. So to me, it just opened up my eyes, where I was like, if they can do it, we can do it. The second thing is find those 2 or 3 people that can tell you in 2 words, like, hey, this is what you're missing.
Yeah.
Because it's all about like getting to the point fast.
The value is this. Think about it. If I were to bring you your biggest client in one introduction, and we were able to assemble something that actually became real, right? I mean, that's just one.
But you can't really depend on that, you know?
But how many times do I have to perform the magic trick?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of, well, I'm here for a year, right? So it goes back to, what did you do for me lately, right? Which is, it's an Achilles heel to the model, which is why getting back to the culture side of things and how people behave ends up getting people where what I need is, or where my responsibility is to find the ways to create that what you guys find value in.
Yeah.
I'm doing. How do I get people to start doing those fundamentals, right? Because there's a deal on the plate for you right now. Hands down, dude, you guys run all the ads.
All the ads.
But here's the problem. Ads, many times, especially if it's media, like where they aren't, let's just say a golf. You're at golf, and you have a golf event, and you have banners everywhere. You know, how do you get the eyeball to connect to the ad, to get to the product, to get like to connect that eyeball, that viewership, or you see something on TV, how do you get them to actually connect with that product?
It comes down to the psychology and understanding how to market.
Yeah, exactly. But it also comes down to tech too, to make that happen.
Yeah.
So the psychology paired with the tech makes it work. I think you guys have a very, very good opportunity with SKUX. You guys run all the ads, and what they do, so ads get eyeballs, right? By the way, I was watching something the other day. The ads that perform best, if you took like all the ads, because you run all of them.
All of them.
I don't even
Other
know.
than SKUX, whatever.
Yeah. Well, SKUX doesn't run ads, but
What do you do?
so if you take all the ads, 80% of them, right, you just get rid of because they're garbage. The top 20% are okay. But the top 20% of that 20% are, you know what they're really geared around? Proof.
Gentech ads.
No, they're just proof.
That is
It's
true.
all proof.
Yeah,
So why wouldn't you just run more proof ads?
that is true.
So if we were running more proof ads and we were to pair it with a SKUX technology, now you can go after big brands, because brands do what? Quick question. Branding. They do branding. They spend tons of money to run ads that do nothing but just get brand awareness.
Yeah.
But what SKUX does is they're that link between your big brand advertising accounts, getting the eyeball and attaching it right to their digital wallet. Because literally, if they just raise their phone, boom, that incentive will drop into their digital wallet, and they can go online, in a store, whatever, and buy. Just like, because that digital wallet, if you put your credit card in there, you can go tap and pay. Well, that's what it does. So that ad will drop a payment instrument that rides on the credit card rails right into their digital wallet, and they can go shopping right from an ad.
That's a crazy target, bro.
Yeah, it is.
Because nobody's doing that, so your CPM will be super low.
That's what you guys have been in for 2 years. I think I mentioned it once, but if I don't push on it, I got to push from Bobby's side, push from your side, make sure there's a deal arrangement there.
Because the thing is, like, neither side wants to be too pushy.
Correct.
And there's always one side that wins more than the other side. So the other side that's not winning, it's like, do I need
Well, there's
them?
one side that
And
has
then
to
with
put
us,
their
it's like-
reputation on the line first more than the other, right? Like Bobby may say, well, I mean, I can do it, but I'm going to have to like ask this brand to allow us to take that shot, right? So do they want to potentially put a relationship on the line? Like
Of
that's
course.
that's really where the friction comes in, and that's where I think the members, they miss the value that I'm giving them. I've done, I mean, so much on the SKUX side that I'm taking all that relationship equity and I'm moving it over so that they never had to, right? To help them get that done. But it means if I burn that, I also won't get the next one. So I have to be very careful.
100%.
Like, sure, I can put the deal together, but it really comes down to, can they deliver? You know what I mean?
I
We
agree
can
with that.
deliver, bro.
No. Well, you guys run all the ads. Nobody's running any other ads.
So tell me what the future is of BA, because I know you wanted like a lower tier community, a higher
Sure.
tier.
Yeah.
Real quick, tell me
I think
what's going on.
everyone, so BA goes back to a childhood phrase where we were not allowed to cuss. And everything was BA. Oh my God, that's BA. It's badass, right?
Yeah.
But we just called it BA. I mean, it was like our thing.
I thought it was better ads.
Well, you have to run better ads before you can run the best ads, and that's
Gotcha.
what you guys
So is
do.
that what that is? Best ads?
Yeah, best ads. It's exactly what it is. Actually, I'm
Kidding.
gonna hashtag best ads. So I feel like even if there's somebody that has a great idea that's coming up, there's no reason they shouldn't have an opportunity to join the conversation.
Agreed.
So, and it gives a insertion point. BA is a great community for a lot of people who have built something competent. Like I just got off with a guy, 18 years in business. He's doing a few mil, but with what he has, he should be doing way more after 18 years. He hit that wall a while ago.
Yeah, that is
So I
crazy.
make one call. I say, so-and-so, can you help him? He's like, oh my God, dude, we got 70 Popeyes over here. We got this, just they start showing, and we could just go put this thing in we can go land of a lot of accounts, right? So many times it's just, how do they get over that hurdle? Sometimes it's joint venture. Sometimes it's leveraging the experience. It's a little different from everybody, but you got to have something, you got to bring something to the table. If you're not bringing anything to the table, then it's hard to be valuable because you're in growth, you're in inquisition mode. So desire, though, it's called aptitude, right? You've all seen the kid in high school that's playing sports that you're like, that dude, he's a freak. Like, you can tell he's better than everybody and he's only just getting started. That guy or girl has the aptitude to be great. I think you have to have a container where give people a shot, and that I don't even like calling it the lower level. I call it the network. It's just like getting them on the network, getting them plugged in from a digital side of things. Now they can get exposure. They might not be able to sit face to face and waste physical time from somebody who's earned the conversation to be at the table, because they got to make that investment in themselves and do the work to get there. But they sure can hear it, see it, watch it, and glean from it. And they can get close, right? They can get themselves in a place where they can actually get all the benefits. They just might not be in that direct deal-making conversation, which is really, if you have no competency or you have no value, it's hard to make a deal, right?
I get it.
Then there's the upper level, though, because you do have these guys that are like, look, we don't maybe even want to come to an event. Like, that's not even our bag. Mike, I had a guy send me a text. We just landed an $877 million deal. And here's what we're doing next. So who do you have that fits into that? It's a text, bro. They don't even want to talk to you. Like, talking to you is wasting time. I'm not kidding. So you have those people that want to come to the table and create that next thing together. You have the people that want to get to the table, and then you have the people that like don't even want to talk to you at all. They just want to shoot you a text, make the intro, and they've got it.
I respect that. I respect that.
But you got to get to that point. And it's not about ego, it's about time. Right? It's about time and trust. They know that I'll invest some time to go get them what they're looking for because they've committed to an investment without necessarily, beating me up on the details. It's like they don't really care. As long as this works once or twice a year, I'm cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, how do you make sure Mike answers every time you call? That's really what they're paying for. If I call, dude, just answer or call me right back, because I'm not calling unless it's something that is important or valuable or timely.
That's why I usually like texting, because then you can see if it's worth your time or not.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you being on our podcast, man.
Thank you for jumping on.
We're going to share. Do you want to share your personal IG or just the board of advisors IG? We can drop it all in the
I
description.
don't even know what my stuff is.
Yeah,
I think,
you hardly use your personal. We'll
Well,
drop the board of advisors one.
you know what's funny? We just put up, I think, Mike Calhoun, like
Yeah.
IG maybe. And I think you were one of my first posts. Oh, no, it was TikTok. So we put up TikTok.
I'm not even on
And you were
TikTok,
one
man.
of the, again, you were one of the first posts, and it was like 2,000 somethings. Almost, it just
No
started
way.
ripping.
I'm honored, bro.
So I was wondering, maybe you had something that was pretty impressive there.
Did we talk about the Lambo? It's probably that.
Most everything is either Mike Calhoun or MD Calhoun.
We'll find it and add it. Yeah.
We'll drop all those in the description, and I also want to drop your website in case someone is interested in joining the community, because honestly, the community is amazing. There's a lot of different masterminds, there's a lot of different communities, but if we're invested in it, there's quality. I'm going to do the outro since Kareem's probably tired of talking.
Well, one thing I can leave you with, it's the best place if you want to be a member, is go to bamember.com. That's where you really want to go.
For better ads.
For better
Best
ads.
yeah.
But I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys like this video. Give us a comment. Let us know who you guys want us to invite next. Mike, it was a pleasure having you on. I'm definitely excited to see you grow. I'm definitely excited to see you kind of excel. And we definitely want to be part of whatever you're doing. Hopefully you can, be part of what we're doing. And there's some things that we want to do together as well. I think the time will come. But until then, man.
Thank you, buddy. This is a great time together, guys.
Yes.
100%. Thank you, man.